Imagine you're alone in a foreign country on a working holiday. Your job is working for a large farm in the Australian outback. Nothing but farmland and bush for miles. One night, you notice a camera flash outside of your window. You look outside, but it's nothing but bush for miles. A few weeks later, you come across some hidden cameras inside your work residence. What do you do? Well, that's exactly what happened to this young backpacker on her working travel experience in South Australia. Welcome to the annual Halloween special here on Shadow Matter, where I will be delving into the creepy and scary stories that you guys will send along. As you can tell, I'm in some new digs at the moment, my new studio setup, which I will be talking about in a later episode, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Today's episode is going to be the focus of a backpacking horror story, a nightmare. This email was sent to me and is a true account of what happened to this person. I did work with this person recently, and I have their permission to read this story out. So I will be reading from the email. So bear with me if you see me looking off to the side. The email is titled "Pervert in the Outback." Basically, it details her creepy experience working for a potato farm in South Australia. So we will get into that. In 2018, I was a year into my 2-year Australian working holiday when I found a job harvesting potatoes in South Australia. I worked there for around 3 months when the company I was working for transferred me to another location in South Australia still. There was just 2 backpackers needed to drive the chaser bins, while a permanent member of staff drove the harvester, so there was 3 of us living on site. Me, an Estonian backpacker, who I'm convinced was mute because he hardly ever spoke, and an alcoholic 60-year-old, who I'm guessing was the full-time worker. Then there was the farm manager who lived in a house about 2 miles down the road. He seemed to be good friends with the 60-year-old man who lived and worked on site. Despite living with people I had no connection with, I loved living there because it was peaceful and wild, and the sunrise and sunsets were spectacular, and the pay was decent. I worked in this area for around a month before taking a 3-week holiday back to the UK to see my family and friends. During that month, we all lived in a filthy farmhouse. My room was chosen for me by the farm manager, and it had very sheer curtains. One evening after work, I was standing by the heater playing a game on my phone when I saw a faint light outside of my window. I thought it strange because there was no need for anybody to be there because it was just bush for miles. So I take a closer look and I see the 60-year-old man and farm staff standing with what I thought was a torch on his phone. And when he clocked me, he looked quite flustered and walked away. So I waited by my front door to confront him about why he was standing outside of my window. He takes about 10 minutes to come in and then tells me that he was looking for something, which I did not buy because he was just standing there. So that'd be quite creepy to see like a torch or something or someone standing outside of your window just even without a torch or something. I can imagine that would be, that gives me the creeps right now, so I can't imagine what she must have been going through. Anyway, she continues. Anyway, I go home to the UK and come back to the area in South Australia, and I hear that the 60-year-old man had suddenly left the farm to work closer to the coast. So I was glad to hear that because I couldn't stand him. Fair enough. At this point, the farm manager is insisting that me and the Estonian backpacker move into these dongas, or mobile huts for anyone who's not familiar with that term, which I happily obliged to because they were clean and I had my own space. He also kept telling me that he was going to install a TV in my donga in the coming weeks, despite me saying there was no need because I had Netflix on my phone. 3 weeks into my second stint at the farm, I needed to use the computer to print off my Medicare documents, so after work hours, I went into the office. I didn't ask because I was of the understanding that it was allowed. I'd seen the Estonian backpacker do it before. So I'm just mooching around on the computer when I stumble upon the recently viewed documents folder, and I see that the first on the list is a video. So I click on it and see a 1 minute and 30-second clip of a woman washing herself in the shower. The cameraman is standing outside of the window at nighttime, and she seems to be completely unaware that she's being filmed. I see that the woman in the clip is another woman who also works on the farm for the company doing jobs other than harvesting, like spraying and plowing. So I didn't see her that often, but I knew it was her from her haircut and tattoos. She also happens to be the girlfriend of the farm manager's wife's sister. and the computer I was using was the farm manager's, so I put two and two together. I had a look around to see if there were any more video clips, but I couldn't find any. But they could have been hidden in any one of the many folders. And I wanted to get out of the office sharpish because it was dark and I had visions of him watching me through the windows. But before I left the office, I looked on his internet history and found that on the day I came back to the farm after my holiday, in fact, maybe 2 minutes after I had been into the office to ask about my work duties for the day, he had Googled extensively looking for voyeur cameras for sale. So then it clicked that instead of installing a TV in my donga, his ulterior motive was to attach some kind of hidden camera to it. Very creepy indeed. I would suggest that if that was me, I would be wanting to get out of there really quick. So my plan was to wait it out. Wait for them to install the TV in my donga and then call the police so that they would have some hard evidence to arrest him with. But by day 3, I came back from work and there was faint footprints inside my donga that did not match any of my shoes. There was no doubt in my mind that someone had been in there while I was out harvesting because 1, I never wore my shoes inside, and 2, I locked the door every time I left for work, and there was only one other person who had a key, the farm manager. So I decided that I should leave that night because the atmosphere felt just too eerie, and the sound of him shooting wildlife around on the farm gave me the creeps, as it would. So I left very early in the morning, drove for a few hours and contacted the woman that I'd seen in the video and the farm region's manager. She couldn't find it when I told her where it was, so clearly someone had gotten rid of it before she could get there. The farm region's manager said that they would take the hard drive of the computer and their technicians would look over it and see if there was anything else. I called the region's manager a few weeks later as I hadn't heard anything from them, and he told me that he couldn't find anything at all. Not only that, but it was pointless for me to go to the police because there was no evidence. And that's where it ends. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care. So that's quite creepy, and it also looks like that the farm region's manager is also sticking out or looking out for the best interests of the farm and trying not to cause any commotion. You know, there's a slight bit of corruption there, I feel. If you are watching this and you know who you are, I've worked with you in the past, thank you so much for sending in that email. I can't imagine what you had to go through with that. That sounds honestly very, very creepy, but also a perfect addition to a Halloween special here on Shadow Matter. If you would like to send one of your own personal backpacking horror stories, doesn't have to be in Australia, it can be anywhere, so please do send them through. Or if you have just any creepy stories that you'd like me to read out here on the Halloween specials, then please do. It would be greatly appreciated. Also, I want to mention that on the 3rd of November, I will be hosting a birthday live stream, and I will be providing more details of that and a link so that people can join if you want to come along. We'll be talking about some exciting updates, be a Q&A session, so if you have any questions that you want answered, please feel free to comment below if you have any questions and I can answer them on the live stream. And also, it'll just be a fun place to hang out for a while. And I hope to see you all there. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and click that notifications bell to keep up to date with the latest videos. And together, we can explore the strange, the terrifying, the unknown, the Shadow Matter.